Day one, doing announcements. We keep doing this, son. We keep recording each other. Watch happy little heroclix. All right, teams, baby. I'm sleepy. We're gonna be doing this. All right, let's go back. Okay, Team Worlds. Got Lucas Van Hollen. I got Isaac. I got West number 1, West number 2, and Kevin. And then me, myself, and I. It's something fierce up in here. The line to get con exclusives is really long. I'm gonna try to stand up here. There. Oh yeah, there's Azra. So yeah, line's really long. So I like this venue. I think we're doing good. Let's go. Day one, Worlds. We're in the house. All right, yo, I apologize. Your boy messed up on day one. We got caught up in teams. The best thing I can tell you is it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times, and it was the best of times again. So we won Phoenix Nest, Ronan won Team Worlds with Adam Friedman, George Masu, Matty G, facing against the formidable Uncanny Clicksman in the finals. Shout outs to Michael Love. Just to remind you, Michael Love, I will recruit your grandmother to Phoenix Nest. So yes, that's my ongoing gag with Michael Love. Okay, so here we go. So there's a couple of key things that I would definitely point out to everybody. Is this venue is great. So inside of Graceland, they're doing some awesome things. One thing that they are doing is they are doing little interviews after the matches. You saw me in round one lose gloriously on stream. If you're watching the stream, please do. But anyway, I did a little interview afterward with Kenny Pena. I think that is a excellent thing that WizKids is doing. Now, there's pros and cons about this venue. Now, I'm showing you the venue mainly to indicate there is space. We are not competing with another game, other companies, anything like that. It's all WizKids product. So, WizKids knows approximately how many players they are going to have, how many people that they need to fit in a room. And one of the best things that I like about this room is there's not a huge amount of con chatter. There is some conversation, there is some rumbling, but overall it's nice. Now when you're trying to hear announcements, because of all of the drapery, it gets, the sound is absorbed between the bodies and the floor and everything else. So right now, like for example, I'm projecting my voice pretty hard, but it's not really carrying and interrupting other games, which is nice overall, so you can hear me better. But think about this, you're trying to communicate across the distance. It can be a little bit troublesome. So those are my thoughts. This is day two. I am 1-1. I've lost my first game, won my second game. So I had a great game against Jason Alvey of Clickstuff, and he was playing Black Adam. So it was very interesting in the mirror match. So that's it for right now. I am hopefully going to be coming back in a little bit, and we'll see how things go. I got DJ Riggin.
What's happening?
Elite Juggernaut.
That's right.
Elite Juggernaut. And he is playing a pretty cool team.
Yeah, it's Two Shade the Changing Girls, Collector with Reality Gym, Mr. Oz, 4 retails, and the Incandescent Ring, some IDs, and a Trouble Alert. Penguin Iceberg Lounge map bonus, that thing.
Waddle Club is not dead completely.
Not yet. I'm still in his house. I'm still in the Penguin's house. There's no penguins. I use the seals.
Okay, so tell me your interesting story, because I thought it was epic.
So I just won 300 that round because I pulled the Odin sword. He killed Mangog. He killed one of my Trouble Alerts. He killed one of my call-ins. And I think he ended up with like 340 points, but I wiped his team. So I won 300, since it caps at 300. So it was pretty epic. I enjoyed it. It was a fun game. Lots of stuff died. That's always a fun game of heroclix to me.
Mangog, Odin Sword is pulled. Overall, also, you did pretty well at teams yesterday.
I did. I made top 8.
Yes, you did.
With my buddies Marquise and Eric, fellow Team Juggernaut members.
Yeah, shout outs to Marquise. He's up his game since I first met him.
Big time, big time. We've been practicing, me, Eric, and Marquise all practice online a lot, Roll20, so it's good to see my two boys in their first world tournament, and we made top 8 together. So it was pretty epic, and now we're all shooting to do it again today.
Yeah, so you're in the lab, you know, with Jeff Farrow.
I am in the lab with Jeff Farrow. That's my boy.
We'll leave it at that.
He's a character.
All right. So I'd like to thank DJ Riggin. Hopefully we'll see more performance by him and Juggernaut and some other people. All right, that's it. Day 2, singles. Yo, it's day 3. I'm in the shrinking battle royale line. We were way back there. It's 10 in the morning. They're packing it out. So singles are going on. High Def Easton Brock versus Ty Lord. Rematch from last Worlds. Who's going to win? The return of the Whales or Power Cosmic? All right, yeah, shaky cam. Super shaky cam. Didn't think that through. Okay, so we got some other good matches going on. I will see how this goes. I'm going to do a battle royale since I haven't gotten to do one all weekend, and then I'll be coming back with you in a bit. All right, check you later.
Dial tops, make sure everything matches. I'm also going to remind you when you're done playing, please pick up and dispose of your trash.
This is my battle royale. I got Click Stall,
Does anybody have any questions about the format?
this guy, and I have Earthbound and Down.
What's up?
This is going to be a brutal battle
I
royale.
haven't played Battle Royale yet. Anybody have any questions? No, okay. Yeah, 2x2s, top out at 175. 3 actions, 2 objects. You will have an hour to open your packs, draft your teams, and play your game starting now.
Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is the show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Alright, just let everybody know I will have X-Men review is more than likely going to be the next show. So I'm going to fully break down the X-Men, the animated series, Dark Phoenix Saga, you know, Forlorn Hope, 7 years ago, the set. So yeah, so there's that. That is coming. I know some of you are going to be like, Dark Logo, she don't have an excuse now. Worlds is over. Get on that show grind, homie. Yeah. And you're right. I really don't have an excuse now. It's just about getting things done. I do have a general rule after a major event of taking a week off. I tell all my guys to take a week off. I mean, they're not, commanded to from on high. But considering that for the last, month and a half, they've been dedicating, 2 or even 3 nights a week solely towards heroclix. That families tend to not like their male figure being gone that long and not, returning. So because of that, I don't push for anything after the event. I actually prefer for people to just go and merge back into their families and enjoy their families. And even with myself, I just said screw this game for a week. And that's pretty much what's going down. I did not record Worlds, primarily because WizKids did have proper equipment to document and record Worlds. So I thought that would be a bit rude if I did that. So if I get feedback, if you all want me to just record non-featured games, I can do that. Or if you want me to, do everything up to the finals, if WizKids is recording, I'll do that too. Yeah, let me go ahead and, since we're here, let's go ahead and talk about Worlds. Yeah, water. So, Worlds to me this year was a 9 out of 10. Is a 9 out of 10. And I'm going to break down why it's a 9 out of 10. So, to me, at first I thought Graceland was going to be a bit of a joke. Turned out I was wrong. I was really wrong. Graceland as a venue is perfect. Literally perfect for WizKids. They're able to run all their events. They're able to fit heroclix in there. They're able to fit Dice Masters and Star Wars and everything else that they're doing. Jiggling my pirates. Whatever things that you're trying to do, they can. They can sell all their convention exclusives super easy. They can sell past exclusives, which is, this is the first year that they've done that. And, some of the older ones that are retired, they have on fire sale, which I'm like, bravo to you, WizKids, because that's all profit, if anyone buys them. And I could just sit back and see, from an organizational perspective, there is no reason for them to leave Memphis. There's none at all. So once you understand that, that all the hands are washing each other and they're making tons of money, that you realize like, oh yeah, WizKids is probably going to be here for the next 3 years or permanently here for their world championships. Now, with that being said, the only reason I see them leaving Graceland is one, the owner of NECA no longer has a vested interest in Graceland, but another property. That's one. Number two, they completely revamp how they handle cons. That's number two I could see. Number three is complete change of leadership, and they have another location that they want the World Championships to be at for whatever financial reason. I don't see number four happening, which is everyone is raising their rates. I don't see that happening. There's too much money. Like if I can make that rubbing sound even louder, I wish I could. Yeah. It's that money, man. They're making it. Okay, so I know that for sure. So, and this is just Edward Shelton Jr., economist here, sort of just stating how I feel the deal went down. They said, look, we will cut you a deal on, WizKids came to them and said, we're going to bring in an estimated 200 to at max 400 people. Okay. So when they were looking at that, their eyes just gleamed because they were like, parking alone, they were going to make a mint just off of parking on top of standard fare for that period of time. Okay. So they were like, can you give us a discount on rooms and give us a discount on the hall? Okay. I'm betting that the hall costs somewhere between I'm pushing it and saying $5,000 a day. I'm pushing it and saying that. Okay. And with that, with the discounts on the room and everything else, WizKids isn't paying for the rooms. So let's just say renting that hall with all its functionalities is about $7,000. They more than likely knocked it down to between 3 and 5. I really don't even see them paying $5,000 for that. They're probably paying $3 a day. When you factor in $20 a battle royale on top of how much they're selling from their merchandise and getting rid of old merchandise in their warehouse, it's pure gold. I see them coming in at just my guesstimation, at worst 60% profit. At worst 60% profit, and that would include paying your staff overtime, or if there's salary, compensating them in other ways for being there that weekend, comp travel, comp food, all that. That's just how I see it. Now, if you brought in someone from internationally, that might, or several bodies from internationally in, that might eat into your profits, but it's not like, here's this significant other that decides to eat half your cake. It's more like a mouse trying to pick up crumbs off the floor. It's negligible to the total mass of the cake. Okay, so just that alone, I see WizKids winning. Graceland definitely wins because of the hotel body, which I figure is financially separate. The hotel body is definitely run financially separate, but still there's some probably between management and then Graceland themselves, and how much money that they just bring in from sandwiches and people buying food there instead of going out and buying food. They made, everybody got paid. Everybody got paid. Graceland got paid. The hotel got paid. WizKids got paid. And heck, in all honesty, the participants got paid because X-Men the animated series isn't out yet. And so they can literally sell whatever they have for pre-release prices. So that is a reality as well. So, excuse me. I picked up a cold. Let me rephrase this. I had a cold 2 weeks before the event. Got over it. Got bronchitis. Had bronchitis going into the event and picked up a cold leaving the event. My airways have not been clear for over a month. All right, so going back. I definitely see how everything is handled. People got paid. As long as WizKids keeps the format of when we do our big events, whether it's US Nats or Worlds, and it's like, hey, guess what? First world reveal for battle royales and teams. World reveal. The next set. Boom. 3 weeks before it comes out. Boom. Here you go. Oh my gosh, what does this do? Oh, what does that do? Oh my gosh. I think that's great. And even if you have the Scott Porter stuff, having the newest set being what you're doing battle royales for, there's a lot more value in that. And it lets you just sort of appreciate being there. And from a business perspective, if you sell your stuff, you really do start making dollars back selling commons and uncommons, instead of cents back off of your trip. So that matters too. So from a organizational perspective, WizKids did a great job this time around. I have no complaints really on anything they did. There's stuff that's minor hiccups, like the whole Sunday blue ticket thing, but that's not a big deal. That's a minor thing. They never really ran out, quote unquote, on product that you wanted to buy. So you're able to get everything that you wanted. So I'm happy with what was there. Now, as a player, I made my bed and slept in it. Okay, so I did team seals and I did singles.
Is there a reason not to do those events? Yes. I think the Battle Royales this time around were really worth it, considering the con exclusives, and on top of everything else, you're playing X-Men. And there's a lot of good stuff in X-Men. But I realize as a leader, as a commentator, and more importantly, as a person that enjoys playing high-level clicks, even though I don't show it most of the time, I feel there's a necessity to play constructed. The meta right now is a lot of control and low scoring, unless you have certain matchups. And I don't have a problem with that. I do think it makes it harder to break. I went 3-2. I had a good showing. My philosophy is no matter what, be on the top side of the mountain. I'm still gunning for that magical singles break. You know what I mean? But I look at everyone I played, and all of my games were tough. I didn't really have a game where it's like, yep, and I steamrolled you with Black Adam. Every matchup, positioning mattered. One game, I will admit, we were thrown off by what went on to the side of us, so it didn't feel like a full game. And we were in like a mad positioning war, and I sniped something, and he got something off of mine, and you're looking at the IDs mattering, all that. And so I can say this, and having looked at some of the top 8 rounds too, the state of the competitive play is very diverse. The problem right now is the control is so strong that if you make a mistake or your haymaker doesn't work, you flat lose. Instead of, oh, I made a minor mistake or I haymakered and I'm punished. I'm fine with punishing. I'm not fine with flat losing. Okay? I'm not fine with flat losing. And that's what Kobik Trader has done. Kobik and just functionally Trader it by itself. There needs to be an errata to Trader. Trader needs to be watch listed. Kobik doesn't. Trader does. And I also feel the Qs need to be watch listed too. Or better yet, dice replacement needs to be watch listed, and there needs to be a change to the rule where either A, after a die is replaced, I can prob it, or B, only one die can be replaced per roll. I feel that if you do that, then die replacement is fair. But I don't like it when you can fate lock me. I think that element is abhorrent, is fully abhorrent. So some people might say, what the heck is fate locking? Fate locking is my Q rolls a 6. My Trelane rolls a 6. I am guaranteed to hit. Either super senses because of Q using it, or I'm guaranteed to crit hit on my opponent. Okay? Now, I runny shot. Excuse me. I runny shot. I roll a crit miss. Okay? I don't have any probs on it. Boop, boop. Doesn't matter. I replace my double ones with double sixes. There you go. I hit. Okay? Not only do I hit, but I crit hit. I can put all my perplexes on damage knowing that I'm going to crit hit. All right. On the other end, my opponent has a really strong pulse wave attacker with an average attack. And I roll a 2 and a 3. And they come up on me and they roll a 6 and a 2 to hit my 18. Actually, no, a 6 and a 5. Okay? So now I can take my 2 and my 1, and I'm like, you miss. And there's nothing I can do about it. I can take a 2 and a 1 and be like, hey, guess what? That pulse wave didn't happen. And because of that, you're in a weird position because it's never been a factor in the game in any other point in time in history because we've never had multiple dice manipulators, or let me phrase that, dice replacers, legal at the same time. And since we didn't have multiples of them legal at the same time, it's never been a game state issue. But now we're encountering it as a game state issue, and there's a problem. So I said all that just to sort of point out, like in singles, I think Cosmic is still an overall problem for the state of the game, just how many options it has. But I think the game overall is fine. I think there are a lot of great things and even emerging things that are positive, that are going to help players have a great time playing this game. Teams, I really got to say, that's fun. That was a great event. My team, we pulled Nimrod, and I piloted Nimrod on 2 hours of sleep. And I think I lost 2 games the entire time. Yeah. That's how stupid Nimrod is. And I admit, like, me without lack of sleep is like being equivalent of me being drunk. So I could have been playing freaking super drunken heroclix Grandmaster Edward, doing, swooping crane and stuff. Could be. But Nimrod is not complex. And Nimrod has a multitude of abilities and stuff like baked into him where he is just a pain in the butt to deal with. Like, he is going to emerge in Pauper as the grand poobah for a long time. He's going to be the grand poobah of Pauper for a long time. He's just too good at what he does. All right, let's move on. I would say that the few things that I wasn't necessarily happy about, some of them I'm like, yeah, whatever, I can't control it. The $10 parking, I really wasn't happy about that. And when I say the following things, I want it in context of being not hating the individual for their decision, disliking their decision. I understand why they made it, but disliking their decision. So I have everything to be happy about that Phoenix Nest has a title through teams, that we have a world championship through teams. And it means a lot for the group in particular that our last chance to get a title was in teams and also in singles and also in nationals. And it was the year that we sort of came on the map as a team. And for us to be back in team finals felt good. In particular, a lot of skill sets that I emphasize in the team helps people for teams, the team event. So when we go into that event, we're in the finals. I got knocked out in top 16 from another Phoenix Nest team, and then they made it into top 8 and lost, and another team got in I think it's like top 8 or top 4 and lost. I forgot. And then we had I think 2 of them lost in top 8. And then you had George, Matt, and Adam in the finals as our last team. And so when Adam rolled off against Dustin Cedars, I was livid inside. There was a whole lot of Sailor Edward coming out internally. And to me, from a cultural perspective of the team, it was uncalled for. And there's a lot of other words that don't help the situation that I was thinking about that. And the main thing that went through my mind was, you're in the finals, get some gumption and fight. Fight for it. And when Adam rolled, he didn't talk to George about it, and he didn't talk to Matt about it. If he did that, I would have been less pissed. I still would have been pissed. My thought process is, if you're going to roll off, you're betting you're going to lose anyway. At least play to see if your opponent gives up a mistake. If you are just playing to survive out and stall, and you don't have a way of resolving the game, I'm sorry, as a team your team builder failed you in that team. Okay? Because even if you're going to say, look, I'm super resilient, and if time is called, we roll off, that's one thing. Versus, nah, man, I'm just going to stall, and that's going to be my team. You two have to, you other two have to win. I may be able to pull out, 1 out of 4 games just because of me getting lucky. But I'm primarily going to go install the time, and then I'm going to roll off. If that's how you design your third team, I'm sorry, that's bad. That's just bad. So when Adam did what he did, I took a step back, and I sort of had like my Moses moment, and I raised my hand, and I was like, Lord, show yourself strong, because George and Matt need the help, because we're already down, and we just came out the gate. And the only thing I could really do was pray, because part of me just wanted to punch Adam in the face. Okay? Him talking about it while he was still around them just made me more want to punch him in the face. And I told him to you could talk about it, but just away. And so he was getting frustrated that everybody else in the team was being pretty angry at him because of his decision. And even if he won the roll-off, I think a lot of us would have been really angry at him for the decision. So Matt comes out, wins his game, and he says, he's told what's happened. And he's like, what? Why didn't he play? And in that moment, I sort of brought myself out of just being pissed off. And I came to understand a lot of stuff with Adam. And again, this isn't like go hate Adam or go bug Adam or anything like this. It's not. But I do feel it needs to be said. Adam is a loner, and Adam has lots of offers for him. And because there are a lot of offers for him, he doesn't have to be loyal to anyone. Not only that, he doesn't have to invest in the game, and anything that he gets is pure profit. He has nothing to prove. He's already been at the top of the mountain before. So there's not much difference between top 4 first and second, other than getting paid out a little more. If you ever pay attention to Adam at tournaments, he's immediately liquidating everything that he gets. And he's coming home with profit. So I get it. And so when I understand it, and when I understood it from that perspective, it made sense why he made his decision. And there are a lot of people that think like that. And I started to realize that every time I've told my guys, fight, go in there, so what you're losing, do another round. You're not going to face this level of skill set, consistently wherever you're going. Go out there, get better, fight. Those times where I personally wanted to give up because I thought like there is nothing that I can do, and then my opponent makes one mistake and I claw back and get a victory. There is something on the inside that comes out on the outside when you have something tempered through you, when you go through trials and have perseverance. And not everyone has that. And I can't expect everyone that isn't through my culture or through a culture in which I know that that's present to have that or to express those values. And so there was something that I had a teacher tell me once. He said, people are not what they say they are. People are what they do. People are what they do. And so I can't overlook what happened. I can understand through Adam's logic why he would feel that Dustin Cedars wouldn't make a mistake. He wouldn't make a mistake. It's going to roll off anyway. Why waste the energy and just go ahead and roll off now? I understand that. I fully understand that. But when you're at the top and it's the last go around, and this is for the corruptible crown, you have to fight. You have to fight. So that's my assessment on it. I don't hate him as a person. I just didn't like his actions. And I didn't like how the actions impacted our team. But I'm glad George pulled it off. And on a couple of conversations I had in that weekend, or that past weekend, we talked about what happened if George didn't pull it off. How different we would have felt if that was a loss. And we started to realize, to see, like, all of a sudden what was a person that was tolerable to be around became intolerable to be around. So I just sort of throw this thing out to anybody that listens. It's just like, no matter what, fight. There is this weakness in us that tells us to crumple and lay down and die because the brackets aren't in our favor, but that perseverance steels us for later battles so that we can fight. We can fight. I have broken in top 16 for the last 4 Worlds and Nationals over 5 years period of time in teams. I can say this from experience. I have pulled horrible. I have pulled immaculate. I've had teammates that did not win a game. I've had times where I just won one game. But perseverance holds everything together. If you can't have perseverance, you can't even come up to courage. If you can't go through perseverance, you can't touch courage. Because you're going to break down before you even have a point where you're facing the insurmountable odds and you have to pull something out. So, anyway, looking at some like general analysis, sort of shifting. Phoenix Nest 4 members in top 16 in both singles and in teams. I think also Clixman. I think they had 2 or 3 in teams. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that. I think they at least had 2. They made top 4. I know that. In team. No, they made finals in teams. Then I know they had several. I don't know if they had 5 in singles. I know we had 5 in top 32 and 4 in top 16. Unfortunately, we kept knocking each other out of the brackets. That part did suck for singles. What else? I think out of the showings, I really want to point some stuff out. I saw excellent showings from Clickstoff, Uncanny Clicksman, and 4 points. For the fact that Isaac is the world champion is great. It's great for the game. It also proves to me right now the strongest team in the game is 4 Points Gaming Group. The strongest team in the game is 4 Points. Now I know some folks will say it's like, Clickstoff had the Rock World Champion and the last World Champion. I'm like, yeah, I agree. They're not slouches either. But when you start looking at, I think 4 Points made top 4 in teams. Yeah, they made top 4 in teams, plus they're the world champions. And if you look at the amount of wins and titles average per player, they are pound for pound the best team. Period. If anyone wanted to say like, oh, look, Isaac didn't have any, world championships. I'm like, he has a nationals championship and a world's championship. Like, like, oh, what about Ed? And it's like, well, he has a bunch of Wizard World championships. Yeah. And you forgot Scott was also a national champion not too long ago and had a bunch of Wizard World championships. And so does Matt. And then you're like, oh crap, they're the Fantastic Four. And you're like, yeah, if the Fantastic Four were all guys, yeah, they would be the Fantastic Four. So I give shout outs to them because I think that's something that very few people are going to acknowledge. Okay. I still, if someone was to say, how would you rate Phoenix Nest as a leader and organizer, headmaster, I'm hella biased. But if I take that hat off and I can say, like, look, we are darn good. But when I look at the pedigree, it's like, I have to respect the pedigree. Are we scared? No. And I don't think anybody should be scared of 4 Points Gaming. But I think people should respect them. There's a big difference. And I think that when you start, like I said, you averaging out player accomplishments, 4 points is legendary. So overall, I think if anybody was like sleeping on Clicksman, you done woke now. You done woke now because they went through a lot of opposition to get to where they're at. A lot of their better players stepped up and proved that they were worthy of being noticed. Also, shout outs to Juggernaut for making top 4. In particular, DJ took 2 upcoming guys to a top 4 placement. And I've known of Marquise and sort of talked with him over the last 2 years. And Marquise is a very good player. And I forgot the other guy's name. And so sort of seeing them arrive to that point and them still being greenish, there's a lot of expectations that I have out of them from the future. Not necessarily in a pressure way, but if someone said, "Oh, Marquise is the Arkansas State champion," I'm like, "Well, okay, I can see that, you know." So, all in all, I think everything that WizKids did, everything that I saw at the event, all the interactions that I went through, I just think it was great. I do feel that if they came out 2 months from now and said, here, or at January and said, "Look, here's our con schedule for the year so you can get prepared. We're going to be at Origins and everything is going to lead up to Worlds in Memphis." Boom. I think you have us there. I think everyone is secure. I think everybody knows what is going to be going on. And I think it's going to be like a positive endeavor. Whereas if we come back and say, "Oh, we don't know where we're going to be for Worlds, we're still working on finding it out," and you can't tell us by the time Origins is about to approach where Worlds is going to be, then I'm sorry. WizKids, you've already messed up. You don't even have to struggle the same weekend. I like, honestly, the weekend after Labor Day is Worlds. Boom. That is perfect. You've avoided the family conflict, and there is time for everybody to get their money together. It's a short week of school, so what if the kids miss the Friday? They already missed the Monday. Good to go. So I think that everything there is I think everything there that is set up is in the future going to grow and flourish into this wonderful thing. I forgot what Kenny was doing with the interviews. And I don't know how many people saw the interviews. I thought that was great. The convention hall really doesn't allow for a lot of sound to travel, which is very good when you're trying to do interviews, because you're not getting this loud cha 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 sound in the background, and because you're not getting that cha 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 sound in the background, you can clearly hear what people are saying, and because you can clearly hear what folks are saying, you're able to not repeat questions, get more nuanced interviews. They were doing a production, and their production, from what I could see from the outside, was high quality. Now, I don't know what it's like viewing it. I wasn't on that end. If anyone wants to tell me, feel free. But I think in the future, if they get the commentators right, they get the interviews right, I think they have something. I think they have like some gold laid up. I think what it comes down to is how big of a show is it worth it for WizKids, and how big of a show is it worth it for the community? Because, for example, I don't know if they streamed the skirmish because, again, I was there and I was trying to win the storm. I'm not kidding. Shout out to Jay Major, who sold me his storm. Thank you very much, sir. If you're in Columbus, Ohio for Origins, stop by Jay's store and buy something from the man and tell him that I sent you. Okay? Great guy. Clicks World Order. Anyway, but yeah, I was hustling trying to get that storm. But if I wasn't and I was watching Skirmish, and if Skirmish is like the new hotness for streaming and, it's great to watch, guess what? That is going to be awesome for the game. I didn't get to see Skirmish. I didn't know what it's about. But, if it's like 3 figures maximum, 250 points, no equipment, go. Like, oh snap, 4 people on a map, Skirmish. Like, oh my gosh, it's Skirmish. What's he going to do? It's 250 points. Oh, like, I don't know what it is. Whatever Skirmish is, maybe I came up with a better format in my little mind. But, anyway. But I think overall they are set up where, in my opinion, folks will not like Origins. And I just think for the main reason is background noise, time, a lot of just logistical problems that are there, whereas Worlds in Graceland, I think from a viewing perspective, may be just like what WizKids needs. Now, again, I didn't watch. So if you did watch, or you can show me, re-uploaded streams or whatever, feel free to email me and link that to me. I would really appreciate it. So yeah, there is that. So, I mean, well, like I said, overall, I think it was a good event. Lots of good stuff. I think that the pricing was good. I think everything with the production values was good. I do think they do need to get different sound equipment to do announcements in the auditorium, in the hall. But other than that, I think that's minor. That's nothing. So that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank you all for listening. And just because I remember Jay Major, real quick, shout outs to Clicks World Order. I also saw a lot of them in singles and teams as well, making the break. So shout outs to them. All right, so that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank you all for listening. You can follow me on Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told me that it's gone and slapped that YouTube CEO that's messed with its uplink. So I talked with the Twitter, and he said he's been doing everything right. And I was like, I believe you, buddy. You know who I blame? I blame these darn YouTube executives and coders. I blame them, not you. Go on back to outer space. Tell me something cool next time. We're straight. We're good, dog. We fist bumped and everything. It's all good. My Twitter is awesome. I don't know about y'all's Twitter. My Twitter is awesome. Sometimes he comes back and, when he shakes off the space radiation, he has some interesting stories. Great guy. All right. And yes, his space name is at StartOverPod. It makes it all appropriate. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Let me know what do you think about X-Men.
before I put up my X-Men review, or maybe not. But let me know what you think about X-Men. Do you think it's the goodness, or do you think that there's going to be, let's just say, there's people expecting too much from the set? You can donate to the show by going over to startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com and hit the donate button. So that's about it. I'd like to thank you all for listening, and remember, we all